Welcome everybody to the Cultivating Readers Sustainability Cohort administrator call. I keep wondering where time went because it's April and we only have like 2 more months of school. Is everybody ready? No. I guess I am not ready because I don't have everything done, but I do have to say I'm ready in hoping things slow down and I can get things caught up. A couple of things, Kaylee and I are working on creating a spreadsheet of curriculum and interventions that are being used across the project. And we are doing this so when Lexi and Shelby come out to your districts, they are really able to facilitate that conversation well. And next year will be you guys' last year in the project. Can you believe it? You've played with me for 3+ years. And next year, we're going to start transitioning you. So with that being said, could I start with Lynette and Debbie to know what is the Tier 1 reading curriculum that's being used in Blackfoot? Do you know?
It's HMH, Houghton Mifflin.
Which version?
That
Is
I'm
it
not,
HMH into reading?
yes, it's into
Yeah.
reading.
It's reading.
And are all the schools using HMH?
Yes.
Yes.
And what Tier 2 curriculum are you using?
I think that
Um,
depends on the school.
Yeah.
So it's not Tier 2 and special ed, are they consistent across buildings? Or are they based on teachers' preference, just a variety of resources? What does that look like?
Well, I know that some are trying to use the HMH intervention piece. And some are still using reading mastery. So it's not consistent across the board.
We're also using visualizing, verbalizing, seeing stars, and Haggerty.
Mhm.
Oh, tell me that again.
What, you didn't get that?
I got the Haggerty piece.
It's called visualizing and verbalizing. And then the other one is called seeing stars.
And are these Tier 2 or are these special ed?
We're using them
two.
mostly in Tier 2, yeah.
So what's special ed look like?
So the special ed is the reading mastery.
Okay. What about you, Jared? What are you guys are using reading mastery as your core curriculum, correct?
Or this is what's fun. This is what's fun. And this has been like the big, I want to say hiccup in this project. But the one thing I've been trying to work is how do we vertically and horizontally align? But at K2, we use reading mastery in the gen ed classroom. And then from grades 3 to 5, we're using something else, and I should know it, but I can't remember the name of it. Our Tier 2 is reading mastery. And then our Tier 3 is reading mastery. And then for students who might need some more fluency work, read naturally live. And that's across all our schools. And we have considered piloting Sunday at Gem Prep Twin Falls, since it's a brand new school, just to kind of see if there's any difference. It's a very loose consideration right now.
And Twin Falls currently is not participating.
Nope.
Okay. Wendy, Ryrie, you guys just adopted a new curriculum. And I can't remember what it was.
Trying to find the little button. Oh, there we go. So we have, so my view is what is used in the gen ed. And then we are also using Reading Mastery, SRA for SPED. And then what we're doing for tier 2 is just what my view for that intervention for my view, as well as Haggerty.
What about special ed?
Oh, that's Reading Mastery. Sorry.
And I do not see anybody on here from Snake River today. They might come later. Thank you. It's helpful because like I said, Kaylee and I are working to better support each of you individually, and knowing what curriculum ahead of time is helpful for us. The next thing I just wanted to go over is we're creating for our June 13th Spring Institute a celebration video. And I would love if you would send celebrations. It can be a testimonial, it can be a video, it can be a picture. We have one district that if the kids met their reading goals, one building where the building met their reading goals, the administrator had to sleep in a tent in the parking lot, and they had s'mores, and then, and it did snow, so he got to be chilly. But they took a picture of all the kids around a campfire and his tent. So if you would please provide us with some celebrations. Everybody works so hard. The kids work hard, the teachers work hard, you guys work hard, and we really want to celebrate you. So I would
Just
appreciate
email
that.
those to you, Shannon.
What's that?
Do we just email those to you?
Please, and I will get them to Will. He's putting it to music. I
Okay.
will be in the follow-up email from today's call. I will send last year's, just so it gives you an idea of some of the things that we pulled together last year.
And what's the last date to send those to you, Shannon?
Sooner rather than later. Will needs time to splice it together. I would say if you could get it to me by May 1st, that gives him time to splice it together. Now, my least favorite topic to discuss, the dyslexia legislation. Most administrators recently received this email from the State Department of Ed. Does it look familiar? And it says, "Dear district and charter administrators," it talks about the professional development, whether it's reoccurring, it talks about money. And I just want to follow up on this. Couple of things. There are two pieces of the legislation, and I'm going to distinguish one as a training and one is a professional development. And the distinction is professional development has to be 15 hours. A training does not. The Cultivating Readers, and I know most of you have, we offered it in October and again in April, the training. And the State Department of Ed has other options on the website for the training. the Cultivating readers submitted an application to the old administration in September to count the Fall Institute, the hourly calls, and the Spring Institute as the professional development piece. We have a new administration. We are resubmitting our application to see if they will cover it. Lexi and Shelby and I have been in conversations. They will submit that application on Monday. And I just have to be honest with you. We had new legislation, we had new administration, and we're trying to make sure we're meeting everybody's needs. What I know right now is we have requested that anybody that attended this Fall Institute, the monthly calls, and the Spring Institute would meet that requirement. However, if they say no, that it has to be next year, we will make sure that it is approved. So with that being said, I will let you know if they will let us retroactively count this year's 2022's Fall Institute and the calls and the 2023 Spring Institute as the PD credit. What we'll have to do is go back through attendance records to make sure the people that are applying for that credit meet the criteria. We know, I'm going to say that we are confident that we can work with the new administration if they won't retroactively accept September's submission for next year to cover it. And because you and your staff are in this project for another year, we would meet that requirement because the deadline is 2025. No, 2024 to have that done. So with that being said, not everybody in your buildings is part of the Cultivating Readers project. For next year, once we get everything worked out, we would like to open the virtual Fall Institute to anybody who needs that PD credit within your buildings. They would have to go to the virtual Fall Institute. They would need to go to the 1 hour once a month meetings and the Spring Institute next year. Questions?
How does this relate to the April things, or just?
So that's the training. Okay,
Mhm.
there's 2 requirements in the legislation. The training is the 3-4 hour training.
Yeah.
The profession, see, the legislation is confusing because it intermixes the 2. They call them both PD, but one is truly just an introductory training. The other one is 15 hours.
Okay.
And the 15 hours, my understanding, is it doesn't have to be renewed. So if all of your staff, let's say next year, come to the Fall Institute, go to the monthly calls, and go to the Spring Institute, they will get that PD credit and never have to do anything again. If they choose not to, they will have to go and find something that meets that requirement. And there's a lot out there. I mean, I get advertisements all the time. It's like, for $200, we'll do your PD for you. We feel Lexi and Shelby have a nice way of making things applicable to educational instruction. And anyhow, so you guys know them. They're really good at what they do. So Jared, yes, the April, what we did in October, meets the
The training.
training component of it.
Okay, perfect. I was just making that all clear in my head, so.
No, it's so unclear. So I'm trying to be clear. They talk about some money here. Honestly, I don't do money. I spend Kaylee's money because Kaylee is the keeper of the funds, but you will need to work with your administrators and your business managers on this 1,500 base amount, $126, to clarify if that money goes towards the training or if it goes towards the 15 hours. Because I don't know, and it doesn't seem clear to me. So I hope I didn't muddy things too much. Were you guys aware that there was money set aside for this? Yeah, and this came from Ryan Cantrell. Okay, I am gonna move off of the dyslexia legislation, because honestly, it gives me a headache. And talk about, in May, we meet again on May 3rd, and we are currently working on finalizing the contracts for the Fall Institute. We will be holding the Fall Institute in Idaho Falls, Nampa, and Coeur d'Alene. Jared, will your whole team, your leadership team, be coming to Nampa or Idaho Falls? You're muted, sir.
Yeah, found that out. Zoom yelled at me. Most likely Nampa, if I can get. I'm not sure when everyone's kind of cut loose from some contracts and everyone is ready for a breath of fresh air.
I will need to have, because you guys come from all over, I'm gonna need to have an idea of how many rooms I need to put in a block just for gem prep. I can figure everybody else, but you guys confuse me.
I confuse us.
Okay.
And I'm confused a lot too.
But I'm all about supporting you guys meeting as a team. I just need to know, because we're doing the contracts right now, to know how many rooms I need to set aside.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Fabulous.
Shannon, what are the dates of the Fall Institute again?
So we have, just a second, let me pull down my calendar. We have the instructional staff meeting the first week in August. And so those are the virtual trainings for your cohort is going to be August 3rd is when your staff meet virtually. The focus of that training is going to be comprehension instruction. And it will run from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And usually they get done before 5. There's also a half day utilizing the platform on August 4th, the Inside Advanced platform. The leadership, where your MTSSR teams come together. Jared, you guys will be in Nampa on August 8th. And it's just one day. And then we will be in Idaho Falls on Friday, the 11th. And Lynette, we have a Sorry. I gotta quit multitasking because I lost my train of thought. The reason it's that week is we found that we were butting up against the superintendent conference. And that's why we did the instructional staff training the first week, because that's when the superintendent's conference is. And we're doing the team meetings the 7th through the 11th. Does that work for you guys? Do you have a look? Okay,
So IASA is that first week, right?
yes,
First through the third or
that's
fourth.
my understanding.
Okay,
And that's why we're doing the virtual instructional staff. But one of the reasons I'm telling you that is if you have, and again, I'll have more clarity in May. If you have other staff outside of the Cultivating Readers project that want that PD credit, they're going to need to consider attending that virtual training. And I need to talk to Lexi and Shelby. We might make it open any day, the 31st through the 3rd, because they're gonna weave it through all of it. Some's foundational skills, some's vocabulary, and some's comprehension. So if they're not part of the Cultivating Readers, they could potentially just choose one of those trainings, but then they'd have to attend the calls for that training throughout the year. Does that make sense? Yeah. But we will work that out. But I'm going to send out registration next month to get everybody registered for the Fall Institute so we can have an idea of numbers and rooms and all of those types of things. In your agenda, and I'll be sending this through the Padlet, we have the registration for your leadership team, your multi-tiered system must support team. We will be meeting the morning of June 13th, and then instructional staff will be working with Lexi and Shelby from 1 to 4 the afternoon of the 13th. And we're going to be looking at IRI data. We're going to be looking at systems in the morning and the skills that we are seeing need support based on the spring IRI. Questions? Okay. I will be sending, so Kaylee and I have been working with an external evaluator who did some focus groups, and these focus groups were looking at the effectiveness of what we're doing and just giving us another piece of information. I was asked to share the reflections from the focus groups. Kaylee hit it very, very well, and I cannot find where she hit it. So I will be in touch with her and attach it to this email, the follow-up email. What it really said, one of our biggest takeaways from the information was parent engagement. Parents don't really know what their role is in regard to being on the Cultivating Readers project. And so one thing is, are all of you engaging parents? I love the dead. Is it they can't make it? Tell me what's going on.
So the parent I have talked to, she is interested in doing it this next year. She just needed to check with her husband and make sure that was going to be okay with him. So I think we might have a parent for this next year. We just haven't, it's been really hard for us to get parents to come to anything. So,
Well, and we want to find the best way to support those parents. And that's why we did the survey it was a listening session. We brought them together and face to face had these conversations. What about in Ryrie, Wendy? Do you have a strong parent representative?
It's the same. She's a really strong parent. It's just when we're looking at information, we're talking about things that are going well, things that are not going well. She just feels lost. And so she will support and help if there's anything that we want to do in regard to activities or things that we want in the area of literacy. She will be the first one to help get other parents, do whatever she needs to help and support that activity. But when we're just going to the day-to-day or the month-to-month, I should say, information, she just kind of, she's kind of lost.
Mm-hmm.
So
And is she helping to recruit another parent for next week or for next year?
she's asking around. So
Well, let me know if there's
But
anything I can do.
huh? Oh, I will. Oh, I will. Oh, I will.
And
But
Jared,
that's what her role is, and that's what she's doing. She just kind of feels a little lost of what she would like us to do. I mean, and it's taken us a while. I mean, finally, we've got a good system, and our last meeting, 2 weeks ago, was really good. And we have a good understanding, and we've got a good start for next fall. But, it's taken us a little bit. So I'm taking these little celebrations and just moving forward. So,
most definitely.
yes, yes.
And Jared, you guys have multiple buildings and
We had one parent who was starting to really kind of become more active, and it was enough. They just decided to withdraw their kids. It was nothing against anything we're doing. And so kind of lost that parent, and it's always been a struggle for us to find parents who really want to be active and take part in this.
do you have a parent teacher organization, a PTA or a PTO?
Yep. Each of our schools have that, and they just tend to focus on, that group really likes to focus on just supporting the schools and teachers in different ways.
Okay. Let me know if there's any way I can help you recruit parents. We have found that parents on the leadership team really do bring a different voice to the work that we're doing. And Lynette, you have 2 other schools, but I don't know what their parent participation is.
It gets tricky. I know they've had a hard time keeping the same parents. Like they'll get one that'll stay for a while and come to a couple meetings, and then but then they don't want to do it for the rest of the year, or they don't want to come back to it the next year. So it's hard to keep it consistent.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me know if there's anything I can do to help recruit, whether any of you, if there is a PTA, a PTO meeting, and you would like us to virtually present and talk about the project, let me know. Those were the highlights of what I needed to review today. I do want to check in with each of you to see how you're doing and if there's anything you need, any support that we can offer you. I'm going to start with Miss Wendy.
Well, What we're moving and going towards is we have been going back and forth on intervention, and we feel like we've got a pretty good support right now with our Walk to Read. Our kindergarten teachers are working now with our first grade teachers. Our first grade teachers are really kind of buying into more of that Walk to Read. We really like the Haggerty program, and so they've agreed that, you know, it's not that much time. Yeah, let's continue and support in that. Another area of concern that we have, and I know that every director here is going to say the same thing when we're looking at our number of speech and language referrals, as well as our occupational referrals. And so we're looking at, yeah, that academic piece in part as well, but I have charged our SLPs on looking at and what can we do when we're looking at those small group instruction, so that it's more that language enrichment, different ways to communicate, what can we do in small groups, as well as occupational therapy, looking at those developmental milestones of where kids should be, and so really bringing those related staff members also into MTSS, so that we can help and support our teachers as they're coming back to us and writing. I mean, for one, handwriting, writing a complete thought, holding a pencil. And so that's just with our OT language, just that more enrichment when we're looking at in our intervention groups. So just other ways that we can help and strengthen what we're doing. Where we have found great success. And stop me if I'm just rambling and this isn't what you want. But last year we had our kindergarten group, and when we screened and for kindergarten roundup, they were young. And the success that we are seeing, but again, it is through a lot of assessments, the things that we are doing within our small group instruction. And our first grade teachers have agreed that just to continue with that growth with our kindergartners this year, so that we can continue that on into first grade, and then moving with our, you know, again into second grade, because we do know, I mean, they didn't know letters, they didn't know sounds, they didn't know numbers, they didn't know identifying letters in their name. I mean, so, and again, they were young. And so we're just seeing that this is that project group. And then just that the need to continue on with what we're doing with this cohort group, if you want to say that. And so moving them forward. And so our last meeting a couple of weeks ago was it was a really good meeting where we just sat down and we problem solved and brainstormed of what next year looks like and where we're going to go and move forward. So.
And how do those kindergartners look as they enter first grade? Are they?
You know what? Our numbers, they're a growth. I mean, we are seeing great growth, a lot. And when Lexi was here in October, and just her assessments and looking at that they would be ready to move and would be starting the reading in January. And we have kids that are reading. So
Nice.
we're just finding that. So it's nice that we have this cohort group and we're seeing that where they're at and what we need to do to help them strengthen as they're going through this K through first and then on to second. So the first grade teachers are really that buy-in of more help and support. So.
And were they the holdouts first grade, or was it second?
That are holding out. It was more, to be honest, it's just really more that first grade. But now, you know, you see it in theory, but now you're looking at and you're seeing numbers and you see kids and you're seeing firsthand, you know, where we were at and now where we want them to be and what that trend line, where that end mark is going to be. So it's kind of
Nice.
nice. We have that cohort group that they can see, touch, smell, taste, whatever it is, that they see those individual members and those kids. So
Great.
we're pretty excited about that.
Anything we can do to support this?
Do you know what? I know that they are excited for next October. So I know that they're excited about that. It was really unfortunate with our snow day that we missed that piece in part, because now it's just that makeup time of now trying to get with teachers of where can we go and make up that time and help and support. We do have a second grade teacher that has agreed to join with us. I mean, she's kind of overwhelmed right now. Just listen, absorb. We're not going to ask you to do anything. Just listen and, soak in the things that we're doing and moving. So.
Okay. How about you, Lynette? How are things in Blackfoot?
We're moving along, and now we're gearing up for ISATs, and but the buildings they're doing a good job of really trying to solidify their interventions and what they can do for their kids that they find that are struggling. So that's the kind of stuff that of course I look for, but other than that, I think we're doing pretty good. What do you
And
think,
Debbie?
Kate?
Yes, so we're also doing walk to intervention for reading every morning for 30 minutes. And we're just doing grades 1 through 5. Kindergarten works mainly with Haggerty during that time. So they kind of do their own thing, but we're showing a lot of growth. We've had to come from a long ways, but they're showing really good growth this year. So we're hoping that and we started ISAT yesterday. So we're hoping that will show there too.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I look at you guys' stat all the time, and it looks like you're yes, there's going to be a follow-up email, Jared. And I put everything in the Padlet, and I send the Padlet link. With that being said, is there anything I can do for the Blackfoot School District?
I liked the suggestions you gave me at the beginning, and I'm going to talk to my staff about that Monday. And I'm also appreciating that you're willing to do a little more training with them. So we might touch bases with you and have you do something when we first jump out the gate in August.
Well, and one building asked that I just talk about uploading videos and doing the whole process with the videos, and that seemed to help. I can't guarantee it, but I am here to support your work.
That would probably help our staff tremendously. So.
Okay. All right, Jared, you're up, sir.
Sorry, I had to take a phone call. What am I up on?
Totally get it. Is there anything that you need from us through the project? How are things going? Where you're at?
Things are going overall good. When you spoke about the training to a school, I think you're referring to Meridian that you did on uploading videos and things like that, because they really appreciated that. That helped them out. Videos have been getting uploaded a little more frequently. Our staff really enjoyed the walkthroughs that happened back a little bit, and I know that Meridian got a special walkthrough because we have a master schedule that rules everything for all our schools, and everyone has everything at the same time across different locations. So always makes things fun, but we've actually seen some really good progress at a couple of our schools. We still have a school that's participating in the program, and it's nothing for lack of support and that. I guess a lot of it is the students we're getting. They're showing growth, but we're not getting the growth we want to see to move them to tiers, move that tier group. They're just kind of staying in that tier 3, and it's really getting we're trying to come up with new ways, what we can do. We have teachers who are really excited about all this dyslexia stuff that's coming out, and I think it's helped open their eyes to what maybe they could be doing in their classrooms to help support all scholars, to move kids. So that's kind of where we're at.
So your building, your one building that doesn't seem to be making the growth you want, is that team looking at what might be the barrier? Is it, I know you guys do a really nice job on your master schedule and trying to align across all tiers of instruction, but have you been able to do a root cause analysis of what you think is preventing that growth where other buildings?
We haven't been able to do that yet. That same building also has a high population of, I think the new term is multi-language learners. I think we're getting away from the term ELL. And so, and I know we're trying to look at what we can do to better support that area of our world as a multi-language learners and what we can do to improve that. And we're not sure if that's having some kind of impact there. We've looked at parent engagement. We just haven't been able to figure out what exactly it all is, because our teacher is doing a better job teaching. You've got him a partner teacher or parapro, depending on what term you want to use. And we've been getting that person trained. So we're providing more minutes, more instructional time. We're just not, it's just kind of that.
The reason I'm asking that is maybe we can schedule some specific training around if you think it's multi-language learners. And Debbie, it might be beneficial. I mean, I don't know. Is the native language used on the reservation?
Some, but not a lot, but they do have kind of their own dialect, so it makes learning language really difficult for them.
Anyhow, if I know you have a need, I can explore resources and see what we can do to provide some targeted training for those specific holes.
I'll try and get with Gem Prep Nampa and just kind of see what they're feeling out too. And I'll get back to you.
More than happy to meet you guys where you're at.
Excellent.
All right, well, that's what I have for today. Is there anything else you guys want to chat about? If not, I will be sending a follow-up email with all the information that's in, with a recording of this, with the Padlet, yeah, the celebration video from last year, and go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay. You guys all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you on May 3rd, if that works.
Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye now.